The train wreck that was the Bill O'Brien era and the reign of King Bill is being put in the rear view early on by DeMeco Ryans in two significant ways. Let's talk about it in the locker room.
Yeah, it's the locker room on YouTube. You know what it is. Let's get it. Hey, locker room. Yeah, we in the locker room. Texas talk. Yeah, you know what we about to do. Localize every angle's what we really do. We the source. We the pulse of the city.
DeMeco Ryans has the town very excited, and there's two things that he has made a much-needed thing of the past in a short time in his tenure. It is the locker room, number one source for Texans daily digital content. I'm Landry Locker. You can hear me Monday through Friday, 10 to 2 Central on Sports Radio 610 and the Odyssey app. Number one source for Texans radio content. This is the number one source for Texans digital content. Subscribe, like, ride along. Got you covered. Started this a little less than a year ago, and it's going strong. I appreciate everyone for coming through. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe. Whether you're a Texans fan or not, this is the best place to get the pulse of what's going on, what matters, everything important that is said, everything is important that has happened, 100% consistency, and we take pride in bringing that to you. There were two things that Bill O'Brien and really even the previous Texans regimes did that annoyed a lot of fans, and it made things that are important to building a successful franchise, successful organization. It made those two important things almost like trigger words and almost annoying. And the two words I'm talking about are culture and versatility, which every football coach talks about, but only the good organizations have tangible examples of that. It became over-romanticized fluff with Bill O'Brien. Whenever Bill O'Brien talked about versatility, it was basically getting a guy who could do a bunch of things at a mediocre level, but nothing really good, and giving that guy a chance over someone that maybe you could work with in one spot. So you had 5 offensive linemen that could line up at tackle, guard, and maybe even center, but none of them were good at anything. This was Bill O'Brien early on in his tenure talking about versatility.
When you get down to it, the phrase "the more you can do" is really important in this league. You know, I think that when you have guys that can play multiple positions, it helps you. It helps you in practice. It helps you on the 53, and it helps you on game day. And you don't have versatility. I don't think that's the route that we're ever going to try to take. So we try to look for guys at many positions that have some versatility.
At least now you hear DeMeco Ryans talking about Tank Dell. You hear him talking about John Mechie. You hear him talking about Jimmy Ward. You hear him talking about Jalen Petrie. You hear him talking about some of the linebackers. You hear him talking about Will Anderson. And the versatility is a good thing. It's not this blowhard, overblown thing that Bill O'Brien threw out there. And it was kind of amusing because at the end of the Bill O'Brien tenure, when versatility, that's what causes you to give Eric Murray, who's a good reserve guy, but because he can play corner and safety at an okay level, that's what causes you to overpay Eric Murray. That mindset about versatility. That is a prime example of what happens. But later on in Bill O'Brien's tenure, when it was clear that he didn't know what he was doing and he never should have been appointed king, he kind of started to get the right idea about versatility, but it was just too damn late.
Sometimes when you have a guy that is a jack of all trades, he doesn't have a home, meaning a primary position group. And then when you have guys and you're trying to dip them in this area and dip them in that area, they don't have a home. They're tweeners. That's hard. That's hard for a player, and that's hard for a coach.
Yes, it is. And it was hard for you, and you put yourself in a bad spot because of that. But now versatility has become a good thing. So something that is that was important, that was a trigger word for a while, is no longer a thing. It's why they moved Titus Howard around from right tackle to all over the place, and until he finally found his home base. That was the bad versatility. Good versatility now. Tank Dell lining up everywhere. John Mechie. All the receivers. So in a short time, that's one thing that DeMeco Ryans has made a thing of the past. The next one, and this one might irk me more than the versatility thing, and that is culture. When you have the POS, Jack Easterby, overseeing culture, you know it's a disaster. A guy who gets caught lying multiple times, a guy who nobody trusts, whether it's players, whether it's front office guys he worked with, whatever. Jack Easterby overseeing a culture is always going to be a disaster. And when you romanticize guys that are subpar players as culture guys, that's frustrating as well. Let's take a close look at Texans culture guys and praise then versus now. This is Bill O'Brien on Nick Effin Martin. Nick Martin was at one point graded the 5th best center in the AFC South. There's only 4 teams. Nick Martin was made one of the highest paid centers in the NFL, and Nick Martin constantly struggled, but got praise from DeMeco Ryans for doing simple things. He got praised for working out in the offseason. He got praised for working out in his garage during COVID. He got praised. If you don't believe me, listen to Bill O'Brien talk about a very mediocre player in Nick Martin. And this is the prime example of over-romanticized culture during the Bill O'Brien era.
Nick works really hard. He's got really good leadership ability. He's very smart. He comes from a football family. You know, it's just really important to him. I mean, even during the off season, he was home. He went back to Indianapolis for a while and worked out with his brother, and came back in really good shape. And just loves. He just every day. It's great to see Nick. You know, Nick has a great attitude every day. Works hard. Takes his reps. He's got a very workman-like attitude, and he's got really good leadership qualities. Great guy to have on the team.
He looked good. I mean, he's fresh, right? He's doing good. It's good to have him out there. He's a leader. He communicates well. It's really important for us to have him out there. You know, he's an important part of, what we do offensively. So it was good to have him back.
Okay. It might be why you never had a top 10 scoring or yardage offense if that was what was important to you. But it was very frustrating. Even recently, Nick Caserio, and I don't like to pick on Nick too much, but when it's necessary, you guys know I will. Danny Amendola played 8 games with the Houston Texans. The Rex Burkheads, the Danny Amendolas, the Rivers, like that romanticized culture. I get that Danny did a lot with Nick and for Nick over his career, but tell me if you think this is taking it a little bit too far. As we talk about over-romanticized culture, guys, Texan for life, Nick?
Just a quick note to Danny Amendola, just on his retirement. Had an immense effect on our program last year, even though he's only here 1 year. You can't say enough good things about him. I mean, what he's done, his toughness. I mean, there's 1,000 examples of that I had the good fortune of firsthand to seeing. But great career, great person, will always be a Houston Texan.
Well, always what? Let me hear that one more time. We're always what?
Just a quick note to Danny Amendola, just on his retirement. Had an immense effect on our program last year, even though he's only here 1 year. You can't say enough good things about him. I mean, what he's done, his toughness. I mean, there's 1,000 examples of that I had the good fortune of firsthand to seeing. But great career, great person, will always be a Houston Texan.
Will always be a Houston Texan, huh? Hell of an 8-game stretch. Now you have tangible culture guys, Jalen Petrie, Tank Dell, Laramie Tunsil, Derek Stingley, Christian Harris, Will Anderson. Let's hear DeMeco Ryans talking about Will Anderson. This is the type of player that is supposed to get the kind of praise that we just heard about Nick Martin and Danny Amendola.
For us, Will, it's this relentless mindset of how he attacks each day. He comes out with a relentless motor. He plays with a physical mindset every play. Everybody around, they can just look at Will and see how we need to practice. Right? What does it look like if you want to be a great player? You have to work that way. So it all starts with the work ethic, and he's there. Right? That's what we want. He exemplifies exactly what I want in that type of player. And playing the end position, now the difference is now we'll play primarily with our hand in the dirt, different from when he stood up in college. But the main difference is just he's going to be attacking, right? We don't want him coming off, reading, playing slow. The main thing we want him to do is play as fast as possible so he can go make plays for us. We're not going to slow him down.
And the other thing about Will Anderson, he's a rookie. Remember when DeMeco Ryans once said that the rookies – they just don't know. Not DeMeco Ryans, Bill O'Brien, excuse me. Man, that's a big mistake. Remember when Bill O'Brien once said, the rookies just don't know anything. DeMeco Ryans doesn't subscribe to that. He doesn't subscribe to the over-romanticized culture guys, and versatility actually means something. Short time, big impact by DeMeco Ryans. Fun times ahead. We're very, very close to the start of the season. Appreciate everyone for coming through. Subscribe, like, ride along, download the Odyssey app. And remember, when it comes to this Texans stuff, whether it's good versatility, bad versatility, whatever the hell, good culture, bad culture, we're all in this together. Appreciate you for coming through.
Is what we really do. We the source, we the pulse of the city too. Landlocked, got the game in the headlock. Localized every time, can't stop, won't stop. Yeah, we top 2 and we not too. Plugged in daily digital on YouTube.